Today we celebrate the Most Holy Name of Mary feast. What a wonderful feast it is to celebrate the Holy Name of Mary. There's a lot of power in the name of someone else. This name identifies them as unique from anyone else. When I go into a school or a classroom, when a teacher, principal, or even I call out a student's name, this name singles out the person. We all know who that child is. There's a beauty in that name. It represents their identity, a little bit of who they are. For example, when I say someone's name, undoubtedly our minds would lead us to think of that person, to call to mind any memories we may have of that person, some experience, even feelings associated with our knowledge or relationship to that person. They could be positive, they could be negative. For example, I'm going to call out a few names and watch how right away that person's presence is almost felt. We feel the positive or negative feelings associated with our knowledge or relationship to this person. Mom, Dad, Mother Teresa, Stephen Harper, Adolf Hitler. See, with each name that I said, we recall the positive or negative memories, feelings of this person that we have. But also it makes this person almost present to us at that very time that we say their name. This too goes for when we say Our Lady's name of Mary or of her son Jesus. Whenever we choose someone's name, I think of maybe a young couple, an expecting couple, or a couple whose baby was just born. These parents start to think of what names to choose for them. What will this child's identity be connected to? When they think about it, sometimes there's the tradition of having the name of a father passed along. This is going to be John Jr., for example. Or maybe a grandparent's name, an uncle, an aunt, someone who may be important to the family's life or close to them. With whatever name we choose, it's often to be connected to someone who would be a good role model in that person's life. When you think about it, one of the traditions of choosing Christian names or biblical names comes from the hope that this new child will live up to the holiness and virtue and sanctity of the person whose name or patron they are given. For example, I am half French-Canadian, and many of the traditions in our family is that for every boy who is born, their middle name is given as Joseph. Similarly, for girls, their middle name would be Mary. This is just out of respect, but also to call to mind the beauty and example of Mary and Joseph as the foster parents of Jesus. Similarly, how we use someone's name often reflects our attitude towards that person, the tone we use. Maybe how we say that person's name reflects our relationship to them, whether we care about them, maybe we're angry with them, or whatever it may be. How we speak to that person often comes across when we use their name. This leads us to then ask ourselves, how do we use Mary's name, or even Jesus' name, or God's name in vain? Do we use these names out of reverence, calling to mind and making present these very important people in the life of the church, in our faith life, in the life of the world? Or do we accidentally sometimes use these names in vain? Let us pray today that we may always give respect to those whose names we do use, especially the names of Mary and Jesus, and try to live up to the wonderful example, the lives of holiness, of virtue that they have modeled for us on today's important feast of the Holy Name of Mary.